Good day, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, I'll be reviewing a seminal paper by Shreya Sundaram and Christophorus Hadjikostis, published in the IEEE Transactions on Automatic Control in 2013. The paper is titled Structural Controllability and Observability of Linear Systems over Finite Fields with Application to Multi-Agent Systems. This work provides a rigorous graph theoretic framework for controlling and observing networks of agents when those agents have severely limited memory, specifically when they can only take on a finite number of states. Here's what I'll cover today. First, I'll set the stage by describing the problem of quantized multi-agent systems and why it matters. Then I'll explain the core intellectual leap the authors make, treating discrete states as elements of a finite field. We'll then look at a key technical hurdle, why standard control theory tools fail in this new setting. From there, I'll walk you through the paper's three main contributions: a graph theoretic characterization of controllability, a deterministic method for designing the system, and a probabilistic method that works in a distributed way. We'll then see how these ideas apply to two practical problems: control and estimation. Finally, I'll offer a critical evaluation and discuss it. So let's start with the problem. Imagine a network of agents. These could be chip sensors, drones, or even pixels on a screen. The key constraint is that each agent can only hold one of a finite number of states. For example, a camera might only face north or south. A sensor might only transmit one of the 256 possible values due to bandwidth limits. The author are interested in two fundamental questions. First, the quantized multi-agent control problem, or QMAC. If we have a set of leader agents that can inject arbitrary inputs, can we force the entire network into any desired configuration? Second, quantized multi-agent estimation problem, or QMAE. If we have a set of synced agents that can passively observe their neighbors, can they collectively deduce that initial state of every agent in the network? These are essentially the classic control theory problem of controllability and observability, but with a twist. The state space is finite. Now, why is this a hard problem? Traditional control theory assumes states are real or complex numbers. That assumption falls apart under strict quantization. On the other hand, the existing literature on quantized consensus focuses on getting agents to agree on a value, not on driving them, not on driving them to an arbitrary target state. Meanwhile, the network coding community has been using finite fields for decades to route information, but they haven't framed the problem in terms of state estimation or control. So, there is a clear gap. We lack a unified framework for analyzing control and estimation in networks where the agents are finite state machines. This paper fills the gap. The author core insight is elegant. Instead of treating the set of possible states as just a set, they treat it as a finite field, denoted FQ, field Q. The number of states Q must be a prime power like 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and so on. This allows us to do addition and multiplication that stay within the set, thanks to the closure property of fields. With this in mind, they propose a simple linear update rule. Each agent updates its state by taking a linear combination over the finite field of its own state and the states of its neighbors. The weight are constants chosen from the same field. Because we're working in a field, the result of this operation is guaranteed to be another valid state. And because the rule is linear, we can write the whole system in a familiar state space form or with inputs and outputs. This opens the door to using linear system theory. But there's a catch. When we move from the complex number to a finite field, some of our most trusted tools break. Consider the PBH test. In standard control, a system is uncontrollable if and only if there exists a complex scalar, such that a matrix loses rank. the author provide a brilliant counterexample, which I've summarized here. They construct a simple three-state system over the binary field. The controllability matrix has rank. The system is clearly uncontrollable. However, if you plug in the two possible values of lambda minus 0 and lambda 0 and 1 into the PBH matrix, you find it has full rank every time. The test says the system is controllable, but it's not. Why does this happen? Because finite fields are not algebraically closed. Not every polynomial has a root in the field. The PBH test relies on the existence of eigenvalues, but in a finite field, a matrix may not have a full set of eigenvalues. This failure forces the authors to go back to first principle. The first major contribution is a new graph-based way to think about controllability over finite fields. We represent the system as a directed graph. Nodes are agents, edges represent information flow. The leaders, the inputs, are special nodes. The sinks, the outputs are also special. The author provides a necessary condition that is both intuitive and powerful. For controllability, every node must be reachable by a path from at least one leader. If a node has no path from a leader, no sequence of inputs can have or can ever influence it. Similarly, for observability, every node must have a path to at least one sink. If a node's state never propagates to a sink, that state is lost forever. This reachability condition is the foundation of everything that follows. The second condition is a constructive deterministic method for designing the weight matrix to guarantee controllability. So here's the procedure. First, take the graph and find the spanning forest rooted at the leaders. A spanning forest is a set of disjoint trees that cover all nodes, where each tree is rooted at a leader. Let D the number of nodes in the largest tree. Now, assign weights according to a specific rule. Every self-loop in a given tree gets a distinct value from a field. Every edges between different nodes get the value 1. All other edges are set to 0. If the field size Q is at least D, then Theorem 3 guarantees that the system is controllable. And the controllability index, the time needed to reach any state, is at most D. In other words, you can control the entire network in a number of steps equal to the size of the largest tree. This is clean graph theoretic boundary. The deterministic method is powerful, but it has a downside. It requires global knowledge of a network to build the forest and assign distinct self-loop values. In a large decentralized network, that might not be feasible. So the authors propose a probabilistic alternative. Instead of carefully assigning weights, each agent chooses its own weights, randomly and independently from a sufficiently large finite field. The benefit, it's fully distributed. Agents don't need to know the global topology. And as the author shows with example 2 in the paper, a random choice can actually outperform the deterministic forest, achieving a controllability index smaller than D. Using the Schwarzschild lemma, they proved Theorem 5. If the field size Q is large enough, on the order of n squared, then the system is controllable with high probability. There's a trade-off. You need a larger field, but you gain scalability and fault tolerance. Now let's see how these results are applied. For the QMAC problem control, the process is straightforward. First, verify that every node has a path from a leader. Then build an optimal spanning forest and find D. Ensure the field size Q is at least D. Design matrix using either the deterministic or a probabilistic method. Finally, the leaders compute a specific input sequence. The formula is shown here. It's essentially the pseudo-inverse of the controllability matrix times the error between the desired state and the natural evolution of the system. Because the controllability matrix is full rank, this equation has a solution. After applying these inputs for this step, the system reaches exactly the desired state X. While the QMAE problem or the estimation is the dual of control. By the principle of duality, observability is equivalent to controllability of the transpose system. So we verify that every node has a path to a sink. We build a spanning forest stop at the sink that is a forest where every node has a path to a sink. We find D and ensure Q is greater than or equal to D. We design matrix as before. Then the sink collects observation for these steps. Because the observability matrix is full rank, they can left multiply the sequence of observations by its pseudo inverse to recover the initial state vector exactly. So let's step back and evaluate the paper critically and the strength sides. So on the strength side, this work is highly novel. It's the first to rigorously connect quantized systems, finite fields, and linear control theory. The proofs are rigorous and account for the algebraic works of finite fields. The use of duality to unify control and estimation is elegant, and the graph theoretic bounds on the controllability index are clear and practical. However, there are limitations. The deterministic method requires global knowledge of the network, which may not be available. The field size Q must be a prime power, a mathematical necessity, but a practical constraint. The probabilistic method, while distributed, requires a relatively large field to guarantee a high probability of success. And the inter-analysis assumes that network topology is fixed and unknown. So this paper opens up several exciting avenues for future work. First, what happens if the network topology changes over time? Can we extend these results to switching or mobile networks? Second, what is the minimum field size required for controllability of a given graph? The paper gives a sufficient condition Q greater than equal D, but the necessary condition is still the open problem. Third, can we move beyond linear update rules? Many real systems are nonlinear. Is there a way to analyze finite state, nonlinear dynamic using similar algebraic tools? Finally, a deeper investigation into the fault tolerance of the probabilistic method would be valuable, especially in the context of node or link failures. In conclusion, this paper provides a rigorous and elegant framework for controlling and observing quantized multi-agent systems. By modeling discrete states as elements of a finite fields, the authors are able to apply and extend linear system theory to a domain where it was previously thought inapplicable. The result have implications for sensors network, robotics, and any system where agents operate under severe memory or bandwidth constraints. So that's all for my paper review, and thank you.